Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're gonna get a little political. So if you don't want to have any discussion about politics or anything, then I guess this is probably the time to leave the video. But since the election's coming up and all that, and there's a lot of, I don't know. Recently, I've been looking into more politics and been hearing a lot of views. Like I've been listening to podcasts at work, and I've been hearing a lot of discussion on issues and stuff like that. So I just wanted to take this political compass test because I've seen videos of people taking this, and I've never taken it before. So I'll be interested to see where I fall on the political compass. So I want to read this little the tidbit here before taking the test. Okay, please note that this isn't a survey and these aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or moderation. On the compass, your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Prejudices, I guess that's, yeah. Okay. All right, so let's get started because I have to go back to work. Let me finish my Coke Zero. Okay. If economic globalization is inevitable, you should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Agree. Yes, serve humanity. Transnational. Strongly agree. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Strongly disagree. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Disagree. Our race has many superior qualities compared to other races. Strongly disagree. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Disagree. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Strongly disagree. So I don't know where I'm going to be at. I feel like that I'm very much libertarian. And I'm obviously on the left, but I don't know how far left or how far libertarian. I like to think that I really am. I'm so much libertarian because I just feel everyone is free to do whatever they want to do. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Strongly agree. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. People are ultimately divided by class. That's interesting. The class more than nationality. People are divided by both, but are they more divided by class? Agree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Unemployment, inflation is more important. I would disagree. I want people to have jobs. No matter how much they get paid, as long as they can live and they can work, then that's better than having crazy inflation, I feel like. Excuse me, burp time. Excuse me. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Agree. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. From each according to his ability, from each to each to his need is a fundamentally good idea. So this is a little bit, this one goes over my head a little bit. From each according to his ability to each according to his need. Agree. I feel like, yeah, that's probably a more socialist thing. If, I don't know, how I interpret it, from each according to his ability. So you give whatever you can according to your ability, you give, and then to each according to his need. So like if this, you give this much because it's your ability, and these people need that much, they get that much. Yeah, okay. The freer the market, the freer the people. So the market, yes, I will agree with that. I don't know about strongly agree, but if it's a free market, then the people can do what they want. But I have some, I don't know, agree somewhat. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Agree. Drinking water, like, we used to buy bottled waters all the time, and that was really stupid. I don't think I'm against bottling water. Tap water should be better. Like it should be taken care of better to have where it comes out of the faucet that it's actually clean. But you can always get a filter or something like that. And since I've been exercising, working out more, we have our drinking, like, what do you call them things? A furnace? No, not a furnace. What the heck are they called? A thermal. Yeah, a thermal cup thing. It keeps the water cold, keeps the ice from melting and stuff. I have been using that and filling it up at the clean stations, like on our fridge has that filter. And I went off on a tangent, but I wanted to talk about the brand of the bottled water thing. So it's a sad reflection. But I also think that, you know, if you can sell a product and it can be branded, that's your right to do so. If you can sell that to somebody and they're willing to buy it. But I really feel like we shouldn't be able to do. We shouldn't do that. But I mean, it's their right to do so. Just like it's your right to buy bottled water. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I wish it wasn't, but how else would we get it? It shouldn't be all owned by the government, and the government gives you some. I would disagree with that. Land shouldn't be a commodity. It should be somewhat. Is it regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society? Is it regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money? It is regrettable. Yes, because everyone, if they don't, you have to contribute something to society. I feel like every person is responsible for contributing something to society. If they can do that, if they give to charity and stuff, if that's their contribution, and they do all the money stuff, then okay. But doesn't have that in there. Protectionism is sometimes a necessary in trade. Protectionism. So I don't even know what protectionism is. I can guess protectionism as like, I mean protection, right? You want to protect your stuff, and then an ism, protectionism, is sometimes necessary in trade. I will agree. Protect your stuff if you're trading. Don't know. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Only responsible. Social responsibility? Yeah. Well, that goes back to like the environmental thing. They should be wary of polluting and stuff like that, and they should be regulated on that regard. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit. I would disagree. Not strongly or strongly agree, but the social responsibility. Socially, I don't know. I'm just going to go with disagree. The rich are too highly taxed. I strongly disagree. They need to be taxed more. I'm making sure, I'm reading that, making sure that I don't have it backwards. The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly agree, because I'm super rich and I want less tax. I want to pay less taxes. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Agree. Excuse me. Like, those with the ability to pay, like if they're gonna pay out of pocket for their treatment, then yeah, if you want to give up all your money to get like procedures done, then yeah, okay. But everyone should have health care, and to think that it's all going to be the same health care, like no matter what, is a bit naive to me. If everyone can have the surgeries they need done and taken care of like at the highest possible way that it can be, then that's great. Like a socialized medicine. But if you have millions of dollars and you want to pay for like even crazier surgeries and doctors that to do surgeries for you, then yeah, you waste your money, I say, on. But you're not really wasting your money if it's if it's like some kind of special surgery that you probably don't need. So yeah, and they're free to, again, they are free to do so. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Agree. If you're selling, government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Yes, because even though I want everyone to be smart enough to not buy quote unquote snake oil from anyone selling it, like pyramid schemes and all that, even though I feel like we should be smart enough to know better than to do that stupid shit, there's not a lot of smart people out there, or there's not still some of those people are going to get, a lot of them are going to get tricked. And the government should, if there's a lot of people that's getting tricked by this dumb stuff and it's hurting our community or something, yeah, the government should say, hey, that's bad practice. Like, I agree with it just a little bit. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. A genuine free market requires restrictions. Yes, agree. Predator multinationals to create monopolies. Yeah. A monopolized business, I am very against that. I mean, everyone should be against monopolies. Cornering the market, don't know. Free market, genuine free market. There's lots of businesses. Yeah, I'll agree. I'm going over a lot of it in my head. So, dang, there's more. Oh my gosh, there's so many more questions in this than I thought. I'm on page 3 of 6. I might have to like save this for later, because I do have to go. All right, and I'm back, everyone, from work. And Megan's here now. You can see her. She's gonna be kind of there, hanging out. So I'm gonna finish. I think I got about halfway through the first go around. So now I think I'll get the second half done. And hopefully this is not gonna be like a 30-40 minute video, only like a 20-minute video. So let's see. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Excuse me, I'm gunked up. Women's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. abortion should be legal with stipulations. But in that phrasing, I strongly disagree. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Agree. A little bit. It always depends on context, but like, if you do the crime, you do the time, right? I don't know if that's the same phraseology, but that's how I'm interpreting it. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Taxpayers should not be expected. Disagree. I think theaters or museums that preserve an important part of history, as long as, I mean, there's so much money that we pay for taxes, so help like preserve our history and preserve, I don't know about theaters, like depends on the theater, I guess, if it's very historically relevant, but if it's just a random theater, you know, showing Hamilton for the 80,000th time, then I don't know, different. But museums and stuff for history and culture, I think it's important. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory.
What does compulsory mean?
Yeah, I don't know for sure. Let's see if you can Google search for compulsory. Required by law. So schools should not make classroom attendance required by law.
It needs to be required by law. None of those kids would show up.
And I disagree. Because in a free country, you shouldn't be required to go to school. If you want to be a dumbass, not learn anything, then more power to you. Well, I don't strongly disagree, but I disagree. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Strongly disagree. Don't keep to your own kind. Branch out. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Agree. I don't strongly agree because there's always context and certain circumstances that, you know, will change that. But it's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. The prime function of school. That's an interesting one. Disagree a little bit. There should be more to schooling than just like job training. And like how I see school, if you don't want to go to school, how about you go to an apprenticeship? You know, you learn carpentry or you learn construction or something with your your family business or something. That could be, since you don't have to go to school, just, you can start apprenticeship with your family. So school should be a little different. Than it shouldn't just equip you for certain jobs. And I mean, there's technical school and all that, but yeah, I disagree with that just a little bit. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Wow. Strongly disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Disagree. That's not the most important thing. They should learn to accept it, but it's not the most important thing. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Agree. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree. If you are able to work and you refuse to work, society should not have to hold you up. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Disagree. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Strongly disagree. What's good for the most what's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Disagree. Is ultimately good for all of us. I don't agree with that, because corporations, even though people will say competitive market and all that, and if the companies are bigger and better, we can get cheaper stuff, but I think there's more to it than that. If you mega corporations are not good. No broadcasting institution, however independent, its content should receive public funding. No broadcasting institution, however independent, its content should receive public funding. Not sure about that. Public funding. Disagree. That was a long page. Oh, and I didn't even know this. At the top of this, there's like, and how you see the wider society. It kind of gives you like certain things that you're looking at, or it gives you like a little bit of information on what the questions you're getting are. Excuse me. Got a lot of rumbly tumbly stuff going on. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. My goodness, that's a loaded sentence. Okay, our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Our civil liberties. So, disagree. I don't know exactly why, but I feel the wording of that, I just feel like disagree. Because I don't think our civil liberties are being, turned away in the name of fighting the bad guys. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Strongly disagree. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. I think. Let me read it one more time. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Yeah, we all need to be worried if they're surveilling us. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly disagree. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Disagree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Well, what are you to say what abstract art of any kind of art means? It's all what you get from it. Shouldn't be considered art at all. It should still be. Art is art. So represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Strongly disagree. in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Disagree. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Disagree. That is interesting, though, because it depends on what kind of criminals you're talking about. Like young criminals, young people that have had troubles and they have drugs or something like that. I believe they can be rehabilitated. They can get over their drug abuse and all that. Yeah, I think it's the second chance rule for me. Like, oh, you may have messed up, but you get a second chance. You can be rehabilitated. I think if you really want to, because people do make mistakes. So the business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Disagree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly disagree. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Agree. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Making peace is an important aspect of maturity. Disagree. I almost thought of agree. Excuse me, there, but because I think at some point, maybe when you're real old, you'll be like, but that's not mature. I mean, depends on when you think maturity is. Like, I feel like maybe one day when I'm like 65 and however the world's running at that point, if we're still here, maybe I'll be at peace with the establishment, but not until you get real old. And even a lot of old people aren't happy with it or at peace with whatever's going on. Is it an important aspect? Because you should never be at peace with the establishment, I don't think. Okay, that was my gut. I'm just gonna go with my gut. Page 5. If you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Cool. All right, astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly agree. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Oof. Disagree. Some people are naturally unlucky. Strongly agree. It is important that my children's school instills religious values. Disagree. Strongly disagree. All right, finally, a look at sex. All right, this should be interesting. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Strongly agree. Just kidding. Strongly disagree. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Strongly agree. What does what goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Disagree. So now let's see where I stand. Well, let me think about. Yeah. I feel like there's some things in this question that that I have some like I wouldn't say issues, but I have some talking points about that are interesting to me about like feeling like people being born homosexual or things like that. There's discussions that I have about that, but I'll still say strongly disagree. All right, let's see it. Let's see what it is. Okay, let me read. I'll read this. In the introduction, we explained the inadequacies of the traditional left-right line. If we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, it's fine as far as it goes. We can show, for example, Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Pol Pot with their commitment to totally controlled economy. On the hard left, socialists like Mahatma Gandhi, Robert Mugabe. Is it bad I don't know these couple of these people? Less extreme leftist positions. Oh yeah. Okay, so I've actually seen this from the other videos of people doing it. Someone like Free Marketer. All right, let's see. Okay, it's going down. All right, so now my political compass. So I'm left. I am left libertarian, quite far. Social libertarian / authoritarian. Okay, show chart in a separate window for printing. No. Personalized political compass certificate showing your own position is available online. So, I wish that I could see how much, like, I wish I could kind of, oh, let me go back up and look at who else is over there. So this is their list of people. So Gandhi is, oh, I see, okay. Anarchism, libertarian, communism, like if you're so far this way, just straight up communist, authoritarian, communism, libertarian. So I'm a little bit more towards the libertarian than Gandhi is more towards the left, and I'm more like up here. Interesting. I wonder who else is over here in this kind of area to help me get a better idea of what values I share with other people. But yeah, so there's that. That's done. So if you want to do this test, obviously you can find it at the link politicalcompass.org. Do your own test. Where do you stand on it? If you have any qualms with my positions, surely leave those in the comments. I'm down for some political discussion. If you want to take it past the comments, I mean, I do have a podcast, so leave a message down there saying you want to come on and talk with me about something, and we'll do it. But that's it. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see ya.